Nearly 6 million hybrids are on American roads right now. And here's what almost nobody tells you before they buy one. Hybrid does not automatically mean reliable. Consumer Reports just scored one popular plug-in hybrid SUV at 20 out of 100 for reliability. 20. That's the Mazda CX-90 PHEV, a $50,000 vehicle with the worst reliability score of any hybrid on sale in 2026. In the Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, only 25% of owners say they'd buy one again. That is the lowest owner satisfaction score of any vehicle Consumer Reports tracked this year. But here's what the dealership won't walk you through when you're signing the paperwork. Some hybrids are still the most dependable vehicles you can buy. Consumer Reports' own data shows hybrids have 15% fewer problems than gas-only cars on average. So the truth isn't hybrids are bad. The truth is the hybrid SUV market is split in two, a handful of genuinely bulletproof models, and a much longer list of expensive, glitchy, battery-plagued disasters wearing the same eco-friendly marketing. Today I'm showing you which hybrid SUVs are quietly draining your bank account, and the 3 that actually deserve the premium you're paying for them. Why this data is real. Before we get into names, here's how this list was built, because I'm not just repeating dealership talking points. Every reliability figure in this video comes from 3 sources. Consumer Reports' Predicted Reliability Survey, which pulls responses from roughly 380,000 vehicle owners across the 2000 through 2026 model years, J.D. Power's Vehicle Dependability Study, and NHTSA's Public Recall and Complaint Database. Where I mention repair costs, those numbers come from RepairPal, CarEdge's 5-year ownership cost data, and documented hybrid battery replacement pricing from certified installers. Not a single number in this video is a guess. Here's the preview of what that data shows. The worst hybrid SUV on this list scored a 20 out of 100 for reliability. The best scored a 77. That's not a small gap. That's the difference between a car that lives at the dealership and one that outlasts your car payment by a decade. But here's what makes this genuinely infuriating. A lot of the worst performing hybrids on this list are also some of the most expensive. Luxury badges, $50,000 plus price tags, and reliability scores that would embarrass a budget economy car. We're going to go through 4 hybrid SUVs that consistently underperform on reliability, resale value, and repair cost. Then I'll show you the 3 hybrid SUVs that Consumer Reports, J.D. Power, and IC Cars all agree on, the exceptions that actually justify the hybrid premium. The scams, ranked worst to least bad? Let's start with the one that surprises people, because on paper, the Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid looks genuinely good. Comfortable, quiet, loaded with tech, a real luxury cabin. But Consumer Reports gives the Nautilus Hybrid a predicted reliability score of just 57 out of 100, below average for a new vehicle, and well below what buyers expect for a vehicle in this price range. The technical explanation is straightforward. The Nautilus shares its hybrid hardware with the Ford Escape and Lincoln Corsair, and Ford's hybrid lineup has been dogged by electrical and battery-related problems across multiple model years. The high-voltage battery packs used in Ford's hybrid SUVs have been flagged for overheating risk, which is serious enough that it's shown up in federal safety recalls, not just owner complaints. But here's what makes this frustrating for buyers specifically. Lincoln is marketed as the premium tier above Ford. You're paying luxury brand pricing for a powertrain with documented reliability problems at the mass market level underneath it. Owner complaint patterns tracked through NHTSA and car complaints show a recurring cluster. Infotainment system failures, unexpected mechanical faults, and multiple dealer visits to properly diagnose electrical gremlins, the exact pattern you'd expect from a 57 out of 100 reliability score. On resale, CarEdge doesn't score the Nautilus favorably either, and Consumer Reports hasn't yet issued it a full owner satisfaction score because the current generation is too new, which itself should give you pause. You're essentially beta testing a $58,000 vehicle. One owner account posted to a Lincoln enthusiast forum described bringing a nearly new Nautilus Hybrid back to the dealer 3 times in its first 4 months. Once for the infotainment screen freezing mid-drive. Once for a phantom collision warning alert on an empty road, and once for a check engine light that cleared itself before the technician could find a cause. The vehicle was never actually fixed. The symptoms just stopped showing up on a given day. Run the numbers. A Ford family hybrid battery replacement typically runs $2,000 to $8,000, depending on the pack and labor rate. If that battery fails at, say, 70,000 miles on a $58,000 purchase, you're looking at real 5-figure depreciation stacked on top of a 4-figure repair bill before the vehicle even hits 100,000 miles. But the next one on this list scored even worse, and it's not even the most expensive vehicle here. Number 3 is the Dodge Hornet PHEV. And this one might not even matter much longer because Stellantis actually halted US production of the Hornet for the 2026 model year due to tariff pressures. But if you're looking at a leftover unit on a dealer lot right now, you need to hear this. CarEdge projects the Hornet PHEV to lose roughly 62% of its value over 5 years, one of the steepest depreciation curves of any compact SUV on the market, hybrid or not. Owner complaints center on infotainment failures, all-wheel drive system issues, and recurring recalls, with some owners reporting their vehicles sitting at the dealership for weeks waiting on parts. One Hornet PHEV owner described in an online forum thread waiting 11 weeks for a replacement part after the all-wheel drive system threw a fault code, with no loaner available and no firm delivery date from the dealer the entire time. But here's what makes this worse than a typical reliability problem. This isn't a mature platform with occasional hiccups. This is a first-generation plug-in hybrid system from a brand with limited PHEV experience, built on a shared Stellantis architecture, now orphaned by the manufacturer's own production halt. Parts availability for a discontinued model is only going to get harder to find, not easier. Do the math on ownership cost. Say a Hornet PHEV owner paid around $40,000 for the vehicle. At a 62% 5-year depreciation rate, that vehicle is worth roughly $15,200 after 5 years, before you've spent $1 on repairs. Combine that with a documented pattern of multi-week service delays, and you're looking at a vehicle that's expensive to own and expensive to be without while it sits in the shop. This is a case where the manufacturer's own decision, pulling the plug on US production, tells you everything about their confidence in the platform's future. If Stellantis isn't betting on it, why would you? But brand loyalty makes the next one hurt even more, because a lot of buyers walked into this one expecting Toyota-level dependability. This is the hybrid that Consumer Reports has now flagged multiple years running. The Ford Escape Hybrid and its plug-in sibling, the Escape PHEV. The 2025 model year Escape Hybrid scored a mere 21 out of 100 on Consumer Reports' predicted reliability scale, beating out only 4 other vehicles in their entire database. 21 out of 100. Here's the technical root cause, and it's a serious one. Ford Escape hybrids built between 2020 and 2023 shipped with a documented engine defect that could cause premature failure, and in some cases, fire. Ford eventually issued a recall, but here's what makes this criminal. A class action lawsuit was filed alleging Ford knew about the defect and failed to act quickly enough to protect consumers who were already driving these vehicles. But here's what makes this worse than a one-time engine problem. The high-voltage lithium-ion battery in Ford's hybrid system has also been flagged for overheating and fire risk, a problem shared with the Lincoln Corsair hybrid we already covered. That's 2 separate fire risk systems in the same platform. The complaint pattern on the plug-in version is just as bad. Owners report infotainment failures, all-wheel drive system issues, and recurring recalls, with some vehicles spending weeks at the dealer waiting on back-ordered parts. A pattern owners describe over and over in complaint threads. The check engine light comes on with no warning. The dealer confirms the engine needs replacing, and the vehicle sits for weeks while parts are sourced. The exact scenario the lawsuit alleges Ford could have prevented with an earlier recall. The financial damage compounds fast. A 2024 Ford Escape plug-in hybrid depreciated 54% in just 2 years, leaving owners with a resale value around $18,900 on a vehicle that likely cost well over $40,000 new, and KBB confirms the Escape's resale sits below every major competitor in its class: the RAV4, the CRV, the Forester. Run the cost per mile math on the standard hybrid. At a starting price near $33,000, a hybrid battery replacement running $2,000 to $8,000, plus documented brake wear and leak complaints from owners. This is not the cheap and efficient city SUV Ford markets it as. It's a vehicle with a recall history, an active lawsuit, and the worst reliability score Consumer Reports currently tracks for any hybrid SUV in America. And that's before we get to number 1, the worst reviewed vehicle, hybrid or otherwise, that Consumer Reports tracked this entire year. The absolute worst hybrid SUV data point in this entire video actually belongs to 2 vehicles, because they fail in the same category for different reasons, and buyers deserve to hear both. Start with reliability. The Mazda CX-90 PHEV posted a Consumer Reports reliability score of just 20 out of 100, the lowest of any hybrid SUV Consumer Reports tracks. 20 out of 100 on a vehicle that starts around $50,500. The technical explanation: the CX-90 PHEV runs a new engine, a new transmission, and a new rear-wheel drive-based platform. Mazda's first plug-in hybrid system ever. Owners report recurring transmission roughness at low speeds, radar sensor errors, and technology glitches serious enough to require multiple dealer visits just to diagnose. Mazda has issued recalls to address transmission problems, but Consumer Reports notes the issues persist across model years, meaning the recalls haven't actually fixed the root cause. But here's what makes this worse: it's not isolated. Mazda's sibling model, the CX-70 PHEV, shows the same complaint pattern. Electrical glitches, jerky transmission behavior, hybrid system issues. That's not one bad model year. That's a brand-wide first-generation PHEV problem. Owners describe a familiar sequence. The transmission lurches or hesitates pulling away from a stop, the dealer resets the system, and the same hesitation returns within weeks, sometimes taking 3 or 4 visits before the dealer even opens a case with Mazda's engineering team. Now, the ownership satisfaction side, because reliability isn't the only way a hybrid can fail you. The Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe posted a 25% buy again score in Consumer Reports' owner satisfaction survey, dead last by a wide margin of every vehicle in the entire study. 1 in 4 owners. The 4xe has been plagued by a steady stream of documented problems. Recalls, technical service bulletins specifically addressing battery-related concerns, and reports of serious drivetrain failures. It's become, in Consumer Reports' own words, one of the most notorious examples of a modern plug-in hybrid that feels unfinished. Forum threads are full of owners describing the same arc: a service bulletin fix that works for a few weeks, then a drivetrain warning light that sends the vehicle back to the shop, and a growing reluctance to trust the vehicle on a long trip. But here's the conspiracy layer that should make you angry. Both of these vehicles are marketed as premium, capable, technologically advanced flagship hybrids. Jeep prices the 4xe as the halo trim of its lineup. Mazda prices the CX-90 PHEV as its most expensive vehicle, period. You are paying the highest price in each brand's lineup for the least dependable ownership experience in Consumer Reports' entire database. Do the cost math. A plug-in hybrid battery pack replacement on a system like this typically runs toward the higher end of the $2,000 to $8,000 range. Once you account for the more complex PHEV architecture, dealer labor rates, and parts scarcity on a low-volume system. Combine that repair exposure with a 25% buy-again rate, and you have the textbook definition of a hybrid that fails the "would you recommend this to a friend" test. That's the bottom of the list. Before we get to the 3 hybrid SUVs that actually earn your money, hit subscribe, because what's coming up is going to completely change how you think about hybrid premium pricing. Now, the part of this video that actually matters if you're shopping right now: 3 hybrid SUVs where the data says the opposite of everything we just covered. The 3 exceptions. The first real exception is the Toyota Highlander hybrid, and its larger sibling, the Grand Highlander hybrid. Consumer Reports' most recent reliability survey ranked the Toyota Grand Highlander hybrid as having the best reliability of any 3-row SUV in its entire category this year. Full stop, not one of, the best. The standard Highlander hybrid ranked second among 3-row SUVs, just behind the Kia Sorento hybrid. Here's the technical reason this platform holds up. Both models use Toyota's well-established hybrid powertrain architecture, essentially the same core hybrid system underpinning the RAV4 and Camry, rather than an all-new, unproven design. Consumer Reports has been explicit about why this matters industry-wide. All new designs and technology tend to be less reliable than tried-and-true models, and Toyota deliberately avoids reinventing its hybrid hardware generation after generation. That conservative approach is exactly why it keeps winning. But here's what makes this genuinely different from the scam hybrids we just covered. The Highlander hybrid has become a staple of taxi and rideshare fleets, specifically because of its dependability. Fleet operators don't choose vehicles based on marketing. They choose vehicles that don't cost them money and downtime. When an industry that lives and dies by uptime overwhelmingly picks one hybrid SUV, that's a stronger signal than any single owner review. The specs back up the reliability story too, up to 35 miles per gallon, combined with standard all-wheel drive since the 2025 model year, seating for up to 8, and a 3,500-pound tow rating, meaning you're not sacrificing capability for that dependability. On battery cost, the number that scares people away from hybrids in general, Toyota's hybrid packs consistently post the best real-world lifespan numbers in the industry, with many Toyota hybrid battery packs reaching 200,000 plus miles before replacement is even necessary. When a Toyota hybrid battery does need replacing, independent specialists typically quote $1,800 to $3,000 for comparable work that a dealer might quote $4,500 to $5,500 for. And Toyota backs the battery with a 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty in most states, meaning a huge percentage of owners never pay for it at all. Run the cost per mile math. At roughly 150,000 miles of battery life before any replacement conversation even starts, and a worst-case independent shop replacement around $2,500, you're looking at less than 2 cents per mile in battery-related ownership cost over the vehicle's realistic lifespan, before you even factor in the fuel savings from 35 miles per gallon in a 3-row SUV that would otherwise get 22. This is what hybrid premium justified actually looks like on paper: a vehicle that costs less to keep running than the segment average, while beating the segment average on fuel economy and reliability at the same time. That combination is rare, and it's exactly why fleet buyers who obsess over cost per mile keep choosing it. But the next exception has an even stronger reliability score, and it's the one most people overlook because they assume compact means compromised. Exception number 2 is the vehicle putting up the single best reliability number of any hybrid SUV in this entire video, the all-new 6th generation Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. Consumer Reports gives the redesigned 2026 RAV4 Hybrid a reliability score of 77 out of 100, the highest of any model in CarEdge's efficiency and reliability comparison, and nearly 4 times higher than the Mazda CX-90 PHEV we covered as the worst offender on this list. J.D. Power backs this up independently with an 80 out of 100 for quality and reliability. Here's the technical explanation for why this platform performs so consistently. For the first time ever, the RAV4 dropped its gas-only option entirely. Every single RAV4 sold now comes standard with a hybrid powertrain. That's not a manufacturer taking a risk on new technology. That's a manufacturer so confident in a system it's been refining since the RAV4 Hybrid launched back in 2016 that they retired the alternative. 10 model years of real-world refinement on the same core architecture is exactly the kind of tried-and-true pattern Consumer Reports says predicts strong reliability. But here's what makes this the strongest data point in the entire video. iSeeCars, using its own independent longevity modeling, estimates the RAV4 Hybrid will last approximately 14.4 years and roughly 173,000 miles before major issues are statistically likely to appear. That's not a marketing claim. That's a data-driven estimate built from real used vehicle listings and service histories. The recall record supports it too. NHTSA lists only a single active recall for the current RAV4 Hybrid related to a possible instrument panel display fault, compared to the multiple active recalls tied to fuel systems, batteries, and drivetrains we saw on the Escape, the Hornet, and the CX-90. On real-world satisfaction, the RAV4 Hybrid holds a 4.4 out of 5 average owner rating on Edmunds, with 70% of all reviews landing at a full 5 stars. That's a meaningfully higher approval rate than the Honda CR-V Hybrid, its closest reliability competitor. Now, the number that should end the hybrids are overpriced argument entirely. CarEdge's data shows the RAV4 costs just $1,938 in maintenance and repairs over its first 5 years, a full $1,658 less than the industry average fit for popular SUVs. It also carries only a 17% chance of needing a major repair in that window, 8 points better than the segment average. Edmunds separately estimates total 5-year ownership at around $34,400, including just $690 in repairs. On battery cost specifically, the RAV4 Hybrid's compact lithium-ion pack keeps replacement quotes relatively modest. Toyota dealers generally quote $3,000 to $4,500 for a full replacement, and that pack carries the same 10-year, 150,000-mile warranty as every other Toyota hybrid. Run the cost per mile math. $1,938 in total 5-year maintenance and repair costs, divided across a conservative 60,000 miles driven in that window, comes out to roughly 3.2 cents per mile in total ownership friction for a vehicle getting 47 miles per gallon in the city. Compare that to the Ford Escape Hybrid's 21 out of 100 reliability score at a similar price point, and there is no contest. But the number one exception on this list isn't the highest scoring individual model. It's the brand that Lexus, J.D. Power, and iSeeCars all agree is the single most dependable name in the hybrid SUV segment, 3 years running. The strongest exception on this entire list, and the one that deserves the most time, because the data behind it is the most consistent I found anywhere in this research, is Lexus, specifically the RX-350H and the NX Hybrid. J.D. Power's 2025 U.S. Vehicle Dependability Study ranks Lexus as the single most dependable vehicle brand in America for the 3rd consecutive year, not just among hybrids, among every brand J.D. Power tracks, gas or electric or hybrid. Toyota, Lexus's own parent company, ranks 4th, Honda ranks 12th. Lexus is simply in a category by itself. For the RX-350H specifically, J.D. Power gives it an overall score of 85 out of 100, broken down as 85 for quality and reliability, 82 for driving experience, 84 for resale value, and 87 for dealership experience. iSeeCars independently backs this up with an 8.3 out of 10 overall score, including 8.6 for reliability and 8.2 for retained value. Here's the technical explanation for why the reliability holds up so consistently. The RX-350H runs essentially the same core hybrid powertrain as the RAV4 hybrid we just covered. Same fundamental Toyota hybrid synergy drive lineage, refined over multiple generations, just packaged with Lexus's additional sound insulation, materials, and build quality controls. You're getting Toyota's most proven hybrid engineering, assembled to a higher quality control standard, which is precisely why the reliability score climbs even higher than the RAV4's already strong number. But here's what makes this the most financially defensible premium purchase on the entire list. Most luxury vehicles depreciate brutally. The RX-350H does not. IC Cars estimates the RX-350H depreciates about 43.8% over 5 years and 60,000 miles, more than 10 percentage points better than most of its direct luxury competitors. Compare that to the Dodge Hornet PHEV's 62% 5-year depreciation, or the Escape PHEV's 54% depreciation in just 2 years, and the gap is enormous. The NX Hybrid tells the same story at a lower price point. For 2026, Lexus added a new front-wheel drive option and an F-Sport handling trim, expanding accessibility without touching the reliability formula underneath. The NX Hybrid posts 40 miles per gallon combined in front-wheel drive, the best highway miles per gallon of any hybrid SUV in CarEdge's luxury comparison, while inheriting the same brand-wide dependability advantage J.D. Power measured. Recall history reinforces the pattern. Lexus's hybrid lineup consistently posts some of the lowest recall counts in the industry relative to units sold, and the recalls that do exist, like the panoramic view monitor software issues shared with certain Toyota and Subaru models, tend to be minor software-based fixes rather than the fire risk battery and engine defects we saw with Ford and Lincoln. Now the full ownership cost picture. Edmunds estimates 5-year 60,000-mile ownership on a standard RX-35. platform at roughly $77,377, which breaks down to about $23,164 in depreciation, $10,426 in maintenance, and just $1,465 in repairs. That repair figure is the number that matters most. $1,465 in total repair cost across 5 years and 60,000 miles on a vehicle with a starting price north of $50,000. Run the cost per mile math on that repair figure alone. $1,465 divided by 60,000 miles comes out to about 2.4 cents per mile in repair cost. Lower than several of the budget hybrid SUVs we covered as scams earlier in this video, on a vehicle that costs significantly more to buy. That's the entire argument in one number. The Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe and the Mazda CX-90 PHEV cost you more in reliability. Headaches at a similar or lower price point than a Lexus RX-350H cost you at a premium price point. You're not paying for the Lexus badge. You're paying for J.D. Power's #1 dependability ranking 3 years running, and the ownership data backs that up dollar for dollar. One more thing worth saying plainly. This isn't luck. Lexus, Subaru, and Toyota consistently sit at the top of Consumer Reports' brand-wide reliability rankings year after year, while brands chasing first-generation plug-in hybrid technology, Mazda, Jeep, Dodge, keep showing up at the bottom. The pattern isn't random. It's the direct result of how conservative or aggressive each manufacturer is willing to be with unproven hardware, and Lexus has chosen proven every single time. After going through Consumer Reports, J.D. Power, IC Cars, and NHTSA data on nearly a dozen hybrid SUVs, here's the conclusion the data actually supports. The hybrid premium isn't a scam by default, but paying it blindly on the wrong badge absolutely is. Flip the value argument the way the numbers force you to. The Mazda CX-90 PHEV starts around $50,500 and carries a 20 out of 100 reliability score. The Toyota RAV4 Hybrid starts closer to $30,000 and carries a 77. You are not getting more dependability by spending more money. Sometimes you're getting dramatically less. So here's my question for the comments. Are you driving one of the 3 exceptions, RAV4, Highlander, or Lexus, or are you sitting on one of the 4 we flagged tonight? Tell me your mileage and whether the reliability data matches what you're actually experiencing. I read every comment. Next video, the specific hybrid battery warning signs dealers hope you ignore until your warranty runs out, and the exact mileage window where an $8,000 repair becomes an $1,800 one if you catch it early. You need that before your next service appointment. Thanks for watching.